Are you looking for a holiday gift? Is your friend or family likes to knit? I am going to give you 12 amazing gifts for knitters. Hi, this is Ari from Palmieri Arts and Crafts. I have been a passionate knitter for over a decade. If you're looking for a gift for a knitter, but you don't know anything about knitting, it can be a little challenging. I have listed 12 amazing gift ideas for knitters, so you don't have to spend hours looking for a gift online. All the products mentioned in this video is something I use all the time, or they are on top of my wish list. Links are also listed down below in the descriptions. If I find amazing deals or coupon codes throughout this holiday shopping season, I am going to update those information in the description as well, so you can save some money. Idea number 1. Yarn ball. When we are knitting, the yarn tends to roll away and collect all the dust and hair, especially if you have a pet in your house. The ball will allow the yarn to stay in place and keep it clean. There are many handcrafted ceramic balls on Etsy. The Mud Place on Etsy offers personalized yarn ball, which add a nice touch as a gift. A wooden ball from Knitpicks is also really pretty. Since it is wood, it is a great choice for those who has very active kids or pet in the household. Idea number 2. Knitting bag. If you have a serious knitter, I'm sure the person is bringing a knitting project everywhere, and not just one project, but multiple. A bag with multiple components is amazing for knitters who tend to have more than one project and like to bring knitting on the go. These little holes will prevent the yarn to get tangled and also make it easier to pull yarn while knitting. A little pouch is convenient for carrying a project inside a purse. It is not the best for a large project, but it is perfect for a smaller project like socks, hat, and mittens. It has a couple of small pockets for knitting tools, so everything knitting can be separated from all the other stuff in the purse, so they are not going to get mixed up and make a mess. And speaking of a purse, this gorgeous leather bag from Furls looks just like a normal purse, but it is a knitting bag. The design is simple yet sophisticated. It can be coordinated with casual clothing or with business attire. I mean, let's be honest, many knitters carry their project to work. And it is not just a look. The function as a knitting bag is also amazing. Number 3. Yarn Swift and Yarn Winder. When we purchase yarn, sometimes it comes in this twisted shape. This is called a hank of yarn, meaning the yarn is wound into a huge loop and then twisted, folded, and then twisted for easier shipping. But when we like to start the project, it's gonna be a problem because it is a huge loop. When we start pulling the yarn, it's going to be a tangled mess. So what we have to do before starting a project is to open this up and then wind it into a ball. So we will be able to knit. And this process is very painful, especially when we have a project that we would like to knit right away. There is a tool to make this process much faster and easier. It is called Yarn Swift and Yarn Winder. Yarn Swift is to keep the yarn in place and spin, so it is easier to wind the yarn. And the Yarn Winder is to make the ball of yarn in a very quick and neat way. The Swifter I'm using here is made by Amish, so unfortunately I don't have a link, but I recommend an umbrella style like this one since it is easier to adjust the width and store. Having a set is totally life-changing for a knitter. I purchased this 5-6 years into my knitting journey, and I regretted I didn't get it sooner. Knitpicks offers a bundle that also includes a yarn ball. If you don't have a lot of budget to purchase both, I highly recommend getting a Swift first, so it makes things much easier to wind yarn into a ball by hand. Number 4. Chart Keeper. Chart Keeper is like a binder for a knitting pattern. We can use it to keep a printed chart flat and straight. The best part is that the binder comes with magnetic strips, which helps knitters to keep track of their work. It is perfect for those who don't like to read patterns by using devices. Number 5. A pair of pretty scissors. We can certainly use regular pair like this, but who doesn't like a pretty pair of scissors like this? The Primitive Originals on Etsy offers these pretty scissors, which can be paired with a wooden case. You can also personalize the engravings on the case. Number 6. Stitch Marker. If you are on a tight budget, but you would like to show that you care and you like to give something, then Stitch Marker is an amazing option for you. It is low cost, very useful, and also super pretty. My favorite place to shop for markers is on Etsy. Thread Lately HK offers so many designs. These are just a few examples. I bet you can find the perfect design for her. And on the side note, if the knitter likes to knit with very fine yarn like this, I also recommend looking into Country Knits by Monica on Etsy. She makes snag-free stitch markers with wires, which is very flexible. I find it really useful when I am working with small needles with fine yarn. Number 7. Interchangeable Circular Knitting Needle Set. I know you probably wondered, what in the world is that? Well, I am gonna tell you this first. It's going to be an amazing gift for someone who recently started knitting and constantly buying different needles. We need different needles because yarn can vary from very thin like thread to very thick like rope. Depending on the yarn we are using, we have to adjust the needle size. On top of it, depending on the project size and the technique used in the pattern, we have to change the needle styles. This is one of the biggest reasons why knitters own so many knitting needles. In the modern world, we have circular knitting needles, which needles are connected with a cable. This needle does a lot more than traditional style needles. It is a multitasker, but there is one problem. Since the cable and the knitting needles are permanently attached, we still have to get the different lengths depending on what we are working on. And that's why we have interchangeable needles to solve the problem. The set comes in various size needles and cables. The needles and cables are detachable, so we can switch the size and lengths as needed. Once we have this set, we can work on most projects without running out to the store. I highly recommend the set of Chaogu red lace. It is one of the most popular needle sets. I use these needles 90% of the time, and I really wish I had gotten them sooner so I didn't have to spend so much money on needles. By the way, if this video has been helpful, please hit like. Thank you for your support. Number 8. Luxury Organizer. From stitch markers, little cable needles, scissors, tapestry needles, and more, organizing little knitting tools can be a challenge sometimes. Most knitters have some sort of pouch or containers to put little tools in place, but I don't think many knitters have this luxurious leather organizer. The beautiful look with a highly functional organizer will be a fantastic gift for the holiday, and I'm sure it will be cherished for a lifetime. Number 9. Knitting Kit. Personally, knitting kit is one of the most exciting gifts, especially if you know the person's style. Wool and the gang tend to have modern bright colored knitting for younger generations. We Are Knitters is also modern style, but the colors tend to be subtle. If you know a sock knitter who is constantly making socks, there are sock knitting kits and gift sets available on Etsy. Some knitters love to knit cute little stuffed animals. I found Knit for Victory on Etsy. Her kits made me smile just by looking at the pictures. For people who loves calm colors and traditional knitting, kits on woolly thistle are breathtaking, and there are so many options too. Receiving kit is amazing because we don't have to spend hours looking for pattern and then trying to find the right yarn. It's all in the box, and sometimes needles comes with it too, which is a plus for beginner knitters who doesn't have a lot of gadget. If you like to keep gifting throughout a year, then there is also a knitting kit subscription available, such as Annie's Knit Kit and Knit Crate. Number 10. Books. If you know a knitter who likes to read, a book might be a great idea. I love Vogue Knitting, Ultimate Guide for Knitting. This book has so much knitting technique information. It's amazing. And this is by far the best learning book for everything knitting. Another great idea would be a stitch dictionary. It's not like a sweater book or other knitting book that shows you patterns, but this one has stitches, and the knitter will be able to learn different kind of stitch patterns by just opening this book, and it's very exciting. And books doesn't always have to be useful and something to learn. You can also gift knitting inspired novel like Anne Hood. She has written few books inspired by knitting. And also there are many inspiring knitting magazines. So subscription for a year would be an amazing gift too. Number 11. Home decor. Now, if you know a very experienced knitter who's been knitting for decades and had so many books, tools, yarns, she seems to have everything that I mentioned, then home decor might be an amazing idea too. I feel like knitters always buy something for knitting, because if we're gonna spend money on something we don't really need, rather spend money on yarn. So the wall print would be a great idea for gifting. You can purchase digital download, print it out, and frame it to gift the person. These are just a few examples of what kind of a knitting wall decor you can find on Etsy. And you can also get a mug, plate, or any other thing and personalize to put a knitting quote or knitting pictures on it. That would be an amazing gift too. Number 12. Fiber Festival Ticket. There are fiber festivals held in many different places. It is truly a heaven for fiber lovers and knitters. Usually there is an admission fee for the event, so you can cover the ticket cost for the person. It might be hard to find an actual tickets right now because the event season is usually from early summer through the fall, so they don't even have details on the website for next year yet. But what you can do is to go to the event page and then find out what was the cost in the past. Then you can always get Visa gift card for that amount to gift as a ticket cost. If the event is not local and the person has to travel, depending on your budget, you can also add extra amount for traveling cost. And the great thing is, if she doesn't make it to the festival, that can be used for different things. I hope I made your holiday shopping much easier for you. What did you end up getting? Or if you are a knitter, what is on your wish list? Let me know in the comment below. Happy holidays! See you next time!